everyone, this is Anushka Maan and welcome back to my channel. So 90 days are left for the CAT exam, which is scheduled for 30th November 2025, and I know there are a lot of people who are thinking that we want to start preparing for the exam, but is it the right time? Is there enough time to prepare for the CAT? But let me tell you that year on year there have been students of all types from different backgrounds who have cracked CAT in just 90 days and all you need is a proper strategy. So in this video I'm going to share a week-wise timetable with you guys so that you are able to make a timetable for yourself and crack CAT in just 90 days. So let's get started. So on my laptop here I have prepared a proper timetable for every week. So we have a 90-day time. So what we are going to do is we are going to split it into 40, 35 and 15 days. So the first 40 days we are going to focus on the concept building part. We are going to make sure that our concepts are nice and strong. In the next 35 days we are going to increase our speed, master these concepts, apply them and become stronger and better and build more accuracy and speed in all the concepts. And the last 15 minutes would be to revise all the concepts and to analyze the mocks, our mistakes, our strengths and weaknesses, etc. So for the first 40 days, that is the first 6 weeks starting from September 1, the goal is to cover all the basics. So what I want you to do during this time is to go through the concepts, to understand the concepts either through some online source, some YouTube videos, some coaching, whatever you want to refer to, and to solve level 1 questions to ensure that you have understood the concepts properly. So remember to divide your day into 3 parts: morning, afternoon and night slot, and in each slot devote each slot to a particular section. For example, you may do VRC in the morning slot or and then followed by DLR in the afternoon slot and maybe quants in the night slot as per your convenience. But you need to have 3 slots, maybe of 2 to 2.5 hours each in morning, afternoon and night. So speaking of weeks 1 to 2, in weeks 1 to 2, what I want you to do is, first of all, in the quant section, we are going to focus entirely on arithmetic. Pick one topic each day like percentages, profit and loss, ratios, averages and mixtures. Understand the core concepts from any source of your choice, wherever you understand it properly, and solve the level 1 questions for all those concepts. Now for DILR, I want you to start solving the previous year questions. Start looking at those questions so that you understand what kind of sets actually appear in the CAT examination. What you can essentially do over here is that you can write down all the topics that are there in DILR and then divided them into 3 parts. In the first 2 weeks, that is week 1 and 2 that we are talking about now, you can solve the first of 1/3 of the concepts over here. Aim to solve about 3 to 4 sets of every single concept, and right now focus on understanding the approach to those questions rather than the time. You can let go of time right now, but focus on understanding the approach properly. Then coming to VARC, start the non-negotiable drill of reading one Aeon essay every single morning, every single day for about 30 minutes to improve your vocabulary and your reading speed, and also start solving 2 reading comprehensions every day. Till now you can let go of your timing and all that. Just focus on understanding and reading the comprehensions and also try to see what kind of topics you are comfortable with. Then weeks 3 and 4, we are going for the quant section. I want you to deep dive into algebra. What you have to do is, you have to again understand the basics of the concepts of in algebra, like linear equations, quadratic equations, functions, etc. Understand the concepts and solve the level 1 questions to solidify your learning. Then for the DILR, again move on to the second part of the syllabus or the topics that you have to cover for this week. So aim to solve about 3 to 4 sets for every single concept, and this time for these 2 weeks, try and see if you can solve every set in about 30 to 40 minutes only. Try putting that timer for yourself. And lastly, for the VRC, continue with your drill of reading an Aeon essay every day. Trust me, it improves speed and it improves vocabulary both. And on the other hand, continue with your practice of solving 2 reading comprehensions. What you can do is now that you can solve 1 reading comprehension with a time limit and the other reading comprehension can be without a time limit. Now coming to weeks 5 and 6. In the weeks 5 and 6 for the quant section, I want you to again understand the basic concepts and to solve the level 1 questions of geometry, modern maths, geometry, number systems, and then modern maths. And then for DILR, what I want you to do is again take the third part of the concepts that you had reserved for this week and then aim to solve 3 to 4 sets per concept. Basically, by the end of 6th week, what will happen is that you will get an understanding of how to approach questions of different variety, and you'll get familiarized with those. For VRC part, again, continue with the Aeon essay drill, solve 2 to 3 reading comprehensions, and now also start solving, devoting 30 to 40 minutes every single day to solving para jumbles, para summaries, whatever is there in the VA verbal ability part. Also, week 5 and 6 is the time that you have to start building and finish it, actually building your formula notebook. Trust me, this is such a helpful tool in actually revising all the concepts, all the formulae. As you proceed further in your preparation, the time will be less, the pressure will be more. So ensure that you finish with building your formula notebook in the weeks 5 and 6. Another thing that you have to do in these 2 weeks is to take one full length proper mock. Don't focus on percentile as of yet. The entire aim to give this particular mock is to make sure that you get comfortable with the exam pattern and how the questions appear and how the timing is there. Now, there would be a lot of people who would be confused at this point whether or not they should go for coaching. So for me, when I started my preparation, I was just 5 months away from GAT. So I knew myself that I had no guidance whatsoever. I didn't know where to start, and I needed someone to, keep me on the track at all times. Otherwise, I would have been lost in the preparation. So I knew I needed a coaching. So that's why I signed up for an online coaching platform. If you are someone who has similar needs, you can also go for an online coaching. There are a lot of online coaching platforms who are still enrolling students for their batches. Like for example, iQuanta is starting its fast track batch, wherein there will be live classes which will be conducted at midnight from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. And along with these live classes, you also get to have a comprehensive crash course for all the concepts that are going to be there in the CAT examination. So what I really found interesting is that, especially for working professionals, people out there or people who are in the final year of their graduation who might have a busy day and the only time that they can spare to actually study and attend a coaching is night time, they can actually sign up for this iQuanta fast track batch, because the classes will be at midnight. For 2 hours every day, there will be live classes. So iQuanta's top faculty will be there teaching you the best tips and tricks to solve the questions efficiently. So that is a really plus point. So after mid-September, so in this batch, after mid-September, the batch will shift to evening classes, wherein there will be live classes and also intense revision going on for all the concepts, ensuring that you get a proper preparation. In this batch, you get the basic learning modules, like for example, LRDI essentials, VRC essentials, non-engineer quants essentials, which is something really helpful, especially for people who are scared of maths or who have not had maths previously in their educational background. They will also be offering, if you sign up for this batch, there will also be some advanced modules having advanced level of questions, some videos which will have these tips and tricks which are necessary for solving the questions efficiently and in lesser amount of time, and also a 24/7 doubt solving support, which I feel is very essential for any CAT aspirant out there. So if you want to know more about this particular batch, I'll put the link down in the description and also in the comments, because in the last video also, when I mentioned about some coaching, there were lots of people reaching out to me. So I'll put the link in the description. I am also putting in a link for a WhatsApp group that you can join for free, which will have free CAT resources, and you can join it to get the latest updates about the CAT examination. So that was about the coaching part, because in case you wish to sign up for a batch which is still enrolling students in the last moment. Now moving on to the next phase of preparation, which is week 7 to 11. Now in the weeks 7 to 11, what I want you to do is, I want you to, till now you have laid the foundation, you have covered all the basics. Now it's time to speed up. What I want you to do during this time is that whatever question you solve from week 7 to 11, every question has to be timed, because now it's not just about solving or understanding the concept, it's about applying it in the shorter span of time. So now the focus will shift from just knowing the concept to actually applying it under pressure, which is essentially what's going to happen in the actual CAT examination. So now moving to weeks 7 to 9, for the quant section, go back to the arithmetic, algebra and geometry topics, but this time what you have to do is you have to solve the level 2 questions. Why I keep repeating the algebra, arithmetic and geometry topics is because these 3 topics constitute a major chunk of the quants section. So covering, if you have a good grasp over these 3 concepts, you will be able to solve a majority of the questions in the quants section. So start giving sectional mocks for the quant section as well, because they will be very helpful in getting into the nitty-gritties of where you are falling short in your preparation. So after every sectional mock, what you have to do is to analyze and check why you have not been able to solve the basic 7 to 8 questions which are there in every single CAT exam in the quant section. So you have to understand why you were not able to solve those questions. Was it a concept gap? Was it because it was the time pressure, or was it because you were not able to identify the easy questions in the quant section? So, and accordingly you have to modify your preparation basis that. Then for the DILR section, what I want you to do is to focus heavily on sectional mocks. Now this is something that had helped me immensely. So I really recommend that you start giving the sectional mock, and after every mock, analyze if you could have solved the set in a simpler manner. Now the focus here is to not get to the final answer. The focus here is to understand the strategy. Remember, for DILR, you never get the same question in the CAT examination, no matter how many questions you solve. The major part that you have to understand, that you have to build, is to that getting the approach, getting the strategy right. कि मेरे पास इस तरह का question आता है तो मुझे उसे approach कैसे करना है. That is what you have to understand. Then for VARC, what you have to do is to attempt at least 2 RCs with high accuracy in your sectional mocks. Isme you have to include identifying the right RCs, solving them in the appropriate amount of time, and that too with accuracy. Analyze the mistakes in your verbal ability section to understand what are your weak areas. And also for the full length mocks, I want you to start giving mocks every single weekend, and after giving a mock, spend at least 2 to 3 hours in analyzing the mock. Trust me, if you do not analyze your mocks, there is no point giving the mocks, because you'll never understand where you are falling short. Then moving on to weeks 10 to 11, the last 2 weeks of your actual preparation. So by now you should know your strengths and weaknesses. So in these 2 weeks, what you have to do is to strengthen the concepts. Like you would have some concepts like which you feel really comfortable in. What you have to do is to work really hard to make sure that they are foolproof, you don't make any mistakes in that. And for the concept areas which are still very weak and you know that you cannot get better at this, either join some crash course to see if it's improving. There are lots of crash course on the YouTube channel. There are various platforms offering that. Either join a crash course to understand and get better at those concepts, so that at least you come to an average level in understanding those concepts and you're able to solve at least the basic level of questions in the CAT examination. In these 2 weeks, whatever mocks that you are giving, try to give at least 1 mock every single weekend. Now in these 2 weeks, whenever you are giving mocks in DILR, I want you to be able to feel confident in recognizing 2 DILR sets and to be able to solve them properly with appropriate amount of accuracy. And the time spent per set should be decreasing as you give more and more mocks. For the VARC section, what I want you to do is that you should be able to feel comfortable now in solving 2 RCs in every single mock, and there should be a decent amount of accuracy in every RC. Also check if you are able to go to the 3rd RC, maybe able to solve it partially or something. So if you are able to achieve like 2.5 RCs per mock, that is also a very good achievement for you. Now for the mocks especially, I want you to give the mocks every single week and also track the scores and not the percentiles. Now remember, your scores may dip in between in many mocks, but don't worry, do not give up, because this is also the time when you are actually solving the harder set of questions. So your scores might dip sometime. Spend time in analyzing what caused you to not being able to solve those questions. And what I also want you to do is to master the art of question selection. Trust me, it's a make or break thing in any CAT examination, to be able to solve the questions that you are comfortable with and to solve them with accuracy. Now coming to the phase 3 and the final leg of your preparation, that is the weeks 12 to 13 and the last few final days. So in the weeks 12 to 13, that is the first half of November, what I want you to do is to increase the frequency to 3 full length mocks every single week, and post that spend time in analyzing your mocks. For example, you can take a mock on Sunday, Wednesday and then Friday, so that you have appropriate time also in between if in case you want to improvise on certain topics or concepts. 2 things majorly that you have to do: every single mock that you give, you have to make sure that you spend time in analyzing it properly. Where were you losing marks, or were you able to select the right questions? Why were you not able to select that? Understand and try to improvise in the next mock. Second thing that you have to do is to keep revising the formula and the concepts again and again. Maybe till now your formula book should be ideally be ready, so that before every mock all you have to do is to flip through those little pages instead of going through all your notes, so that you are able to revise and ingrain all the formulas perfectly. Final week, that is the last week of November. This is the week when you have to slow down. You have to stop giving mocks ideally at least 2 to 3 days before CAT, because you don't want to, in case a mock doesn't go well, you don't want to carry that weight onto your actual exam. And also the fact that you want to give yourself time to assimilate all that has happened. Maybe go through your formula notebook, revise the concepts that you have to, and just try to surround yourself with people who actually help you calm yourself down and who do not put all those negative thoughts or uncertainties into your head, because trust me, there are lots of people like that. I want you to take a deep breath and to not focus on the results, but to actually focus on giving the best shot in the exam basis your preparation. Trust me, if you follow this strategy every single day properly with dedication, I'm sure that you'll be able to crack this exam, even if it's just 90 days of coaching. If you have any doubts, any questions, pin them down in the comments below. I am rooting for you all. I am so sure that if you follow the right strategy, you can definitely crack that and get into your dream business school. So all the best to all of you. If you have any doubts, feel free to reach out to me. Bye bye. See you in the next video.